So pretty much this backtesting session will be for the last week. I was on vacation, so I pretty much didn't even look at the charts. So we can go over the best power of three setups or setups I would have taken. Do a recap, get some insight on how I actually trade the power of three, what I look for at 10 a.m., the different scenarios, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, this will be recorded, so if you can't watch the whole thing, it should be around 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Also do a weekly outlook, and then at the end I have a nice little gift for you guys. So if you stay till the end, um, I will offer you guys that. So let's just wait a couple more minutes here. How's everybody's weekend been? Weekend been good. Yeah, we can get started here. Um, so we'll take a look starting on Monday. Did Monday finish? Monday might have already finished here. Okay, give me 1 second. So let's look at Monday first. See how we could have approached this. And my thought process behind, even though it got skipped, but we can take a look at this. So pretty much, what do I always start with? I start with the daily bias, right? Understanding, the three properties of a daily bias, right? So first and foremost, you start off on the weekly chart. See what we're doing on the weekly chart. See if we are in a trend, if we're in a consolidation. What are the higher time frame objectives? So we had this devil's mark resting here that I can see that we liquidated. We also have this weekly ERL here. We have this devil's mark here on yes, possible lows, and then we have equal lows as well. So, and guys, if you guys have any questions at any point in time, you can ask those as well. So, pretty much, these are all the weekly ERLs, right? That I'm pretty much just keeping in mind. And we can put these in the white color. And so from the weekly ERL, I'll just mark out all the external range of liquidities on the weekly time frames, previous weekly highs, previous weekly lows, right? ERLs, IRLs, all that stuff. And I go down to the daily chart, right? And pretty much on the daily chart, we're marking out, daily change in the state of deliveries, marking out, any SMTs at the external liquidities, and, you know, any internal range of liquidities as well. So first thing I see here is we have a daily fair value gap here. No fair value gap here on ES, but we have a nice change in the state of delivery on the daily chart after, sweeping these lows here and then, having that strong distribution. We're also respecting bullish P raise by, this propulsion block. And we respected that nicely and got a continuation off that. So right now, for me in my mind, price does seem like it's ready to break out, but we do have to be careful if there is some sort of SMT at the highs. ES looks weaker just by first glancing, right? But yeah, so pretty much what I'm looking for right now is we get the sweep of previous weekly low. We might go down and tap into this daily fair value gap or to previous day low. So that was on Monday, and we swept out the previous weekly high, and we get a significant candle body closure back into the range. So at this point, we have this significant candle body closure. The dealing range is set here as well. So we have this discounted 4-hour fair value gap here that we might react off to. It really does depend here. And we can go here on ES to check it out as well. So pretty much what I do is look at the daily chart. After, marking out the key drawn liquidities on the daily chart, we mark out key liquidities on the 4-hour chart, right? So in this range right here, let me just remove quadrants like this and keep it simple. So the 0.5 here, so anything below the 0.5 here is going to be where's the tool? Is going to be a discounted PD array, right? So this is a discounted 4-hour fair value gap that we might react off to, right? So we might be going from ERL right? We swept out this ERL, we might come down into the discount IRL, and then we might continue higher. But let's see if we, respect these bullish PD rays, or are we going to become bearish? So that's another outlook that I'm kind of thinking on Tuesday, right? But pretty much what we can do is just skip to the next day open and see how price actually wants to play out. So from what I'm seeing here, at first glance, mark out. Let's look at what London did. So we actually do respect that 4-hour fair value gap. And keep in mind, I haven't traded this. I didn't look at the charts here, so I'm just as blind, right? So from what I'm seeing here, we swept out this high at previous daily high. We respect this 4-hour discounted PD array. Let's see if we have SMT inside of this PD array. Just looking for an SMT. So we do have an SMT at the lows inside of this 4-hour fair value gap. So this might actually be a confirmed low. I can just write this down real quick. And as you guys know, when you're looking for a daily manipulation or any sort of manipulation, like, you need an SMT inside of a higher time frame PD array. And so in this case, this kind of confirms to me, with this crack and correlation in this 4-hour fair value gap, that we might actually continue higher. And this retracement leg was just an ERL to IRL, and then we go back to ERL, right? So we did sweep this out, but let's go down to the lower time frame, the hourly chart, and see what PD rays we can mark out here. So at first glance, I see this change in the state of delivery right here on, just mark this, this change in the state of delivery, right? Because we swept that low and we have SMT at that low. And we can just mark this out in an orange color. So this is what I'm seeing here. Mark this out here on ES as well. So pretty much with this, my bias is bullish, right? And this also makes sense because, we have this rejection. We swept out this high. We come back down into the internal range of liquidity. We have SMT inside of that liquidity, and we also have this higher time frame drawn liquidity still resting here, right? So unless the drawn liquidity on the higher time frame, so this weekly this weekly ERL gets taken out, we can't reverse on the weekly time frame. So pretty much I'm waiting for this to be tapped down before even considering any higher time frame reversal, right? So we can go back to the lower time frame and actually look for our entry. So let's go till 10 a.m. We can go down even lower. We have that change in the state delivery marked out. Go down here as well. I do think this is a 15-minute fair value gap. Yep, it is. So we can also, is it 30-minute? So it is a 30-minute as well. So just mark all of these out here. 30-minute gap and this beautiful 30-minute gap here as well. So we can skip the next 30 minutes, and this puts us to pretty much 10 a.m. And so we have a strong reaction. All right, let's go here. We don't have SMTs at the highs, but we have a strong candle body closure down into the lows. Now, pretty much, I still have a bullish, with daily bias. So I'm not looking at this and targeting, these lows here because there's no reason to come down lower, right? We already balanced this range out. The dealing range, in my opinion, right? Where's that tool at? So for me, why I'm not considering shorts here, right? Even after this strong candle body closure is very simple, is because for me, it doesn't make sense for price to come down here when we have an SMT. We tapped into this 4-hour fair value gap, and we also, had this reaction off that 4-hour fair value gap. Now, of course, we swept out that ERL, but if you can look here, we have not tapped this significant liquidity. So I'm not even considering any higher time frame reversals, right? And there's no SMTs at the high. So for me, it doesn't make sense for any sort of shorts here. And so we can look at the 4-hour chart just to see. So we actually do get a crazy wick back into the range, respecting this 4-hour fair value gap. But I still need to see some more confirmation. Ideally, a 15-minute change in the state of delivery here. So if we get a 15-minute change in the state of delivery here, I look to short down to, possibly these liquidities here, this daily fair value gap. But until we get that, I'm still, just looking for some longs. And we might also be respecting this hourly changes in the state delivery. So we go down to the 5 minute or the 3 minute, right? And if we respect this 30-minute gap, all I'm looking for is a change in the state delivery here, or a possible nice long. This would be a nice accumulation before 10 a.m. That manipulation right at 10 a.m. And then let's see how this actually plays out. So we can skip forward. So we wick right here at 10 a.m. Tapping into this 50% of this wick here, right, as well. Pretty much just tapping right into that 50% of this rejection block here. So that's another PD ray that we react off of. We also have this 1 hour fair value gap formed here. So we can pretty much just take a 5-minute change in the state delivery. If we get this, we could take a position like this. So accumulation, manipulation, distribution, and then if not, we can do something like where we get an accumulation here. We might respect this PD array, and then we continue down lower. So that might also be a possible thesis. So I'm just waiting. I need that 15-minute change in the state delivery before I can even consider shorts here, right? Because for me, the manipulation on the higher time frame is still not valid. So let's see if we can actually get some sort of distribution. So we have this nice green candle right here, 10:05. We still haven't got that change in the state delivery. And just to look here, do we have any SMTs at the lows? So ES reacts off this 1 hour fair value gap. And we also do have SMT at the lows now with this 8 a.m. low. Let me just clean up the chart here. SMT, and then we can just change this to a black color. And we can remove this here as well. So we have SMT at the lows. We have this 1 hour fair value gap that we're reacting off of. This makes a lot of sense to me. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution, on a higher time frame. We also have that accumulation, manipulation, distribution. On the lower time frame, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. And so I'm just waiting for that change in the state delivery now. So I think we actually do get that here. We will take our long position off here. Keep our stop. So this makes sense to me. This is my plan A. And if we got that 15-minute change in the state delivery, disrespecting this hourly fair value gap or disrespecting any PD arrays, that would be my plan B. But because we got that change in the state delivery with that SMT at the low, this is the SMT. We can keep our stop, at this low here and just target this simple high right here. You can even target the daily external, but for me, I would want it to scalp intraday. We can see how this position actually plays out, or we could even keep our stop like this, or even just at this rejection block. So I'd keep my stop at this rejection block and see how we play out. This is actually a pretty decent trade. I would have taken it, and we can just risk 1% and see how this plays out. I did not mean to do that. Let's see if this trade plays out. We have SMT, makes sense. How's ES looking? We get a significant candle body closure here on ES as well. And yeah, let's see if trade plays out. So I meant to market order it. I didn't really mean to limit order, but as you can see, trade plays out very beautifully. And yeah, that's for what? Nice 1.8R. Absolutely gorgeous trade here. And we can see the power of 3 playing out, right? On the higher time frame, we pretty much focus on this manipulation wick. And yeah, we got a beautiful SMT at the lows as well on that hourly chart. SMT that changes in the state delivery, and we actually push higher. Let's see if this actually continues higher to that external, and we actually take out that daily external. So that's absolutely beautiful. Now, let me just check the chat real quick. No questions. Okay, perfect. And go back to here. So beautiful Tuesday. That worked out very nicely. Pretty much 2R. Pretty much caught the beautiful expansion. We can go down to the next day. So this is Wednesday now. We had a significant candle body closure here as well. That's Tuesday playing out. I mean, I wouldn't pretty much trade Monday anyways, but we can remove all this stuff. So we swept out that weekly external now. Okay, let's go down to the lower time frame. So first off, what am I looking for? We have a propulsion block right here. Propulsion block right here. We swept out weekly external as well. That's a significant liquidity sweep. And yeah, so pretty much just looking at this for now. We can go down to the lower time frame. So what do we have here? We have a beautiful 4 hour for value gap here. I'm just and whenever I'm going down to the lower time frames, I'm always looking for 4 hour or in 1 hour for value gaps. Especially when they're cluttered like this here on ES, right? Because there's equal lows at these areas, and I just want to see, is there any manipulation here? I don't have my indicator, but there's barely a manipulation here. I can already see on that daily candle. So we can go back to the hourly chart now. So we have this 4 hour for value gap. Mark this. Keep it out in a white. See if we have any SMT at the lows, just to confirm that this is going to be the low of day. So I see an SMT. This low. I don't really see an SMT at the lows. Yeah, there's no SMT at the lows. So that already is kind of concerning. And this is 9:30. So pretty much here, I'm just gonna wait and see if we want to come back into this area. We don't have any SMT. This might be some sort of accumulation. Accumulation. This might be some sort of manipulation here. And then a possible, distribution. I mean, it's hard to say. It's just, this doesn't look too good. We don't have any SMTs inside of a higher time frame for value gap, right? It's pretty much just chopped. London had a lot of, push higher, but just wait and see, and we can mark out this gap right here. This gray is nice. We can go down to the lower time frame and just wait and see. So we have our gaps marked out. We have, these liquidities. This looks like LRLR in my opinion. And we did sweep out that weekly external. So honestly, my daily bias going into today would be for shorts, just because we swept out that weekly external, right? And we have this propulsion block that we might want to rebalance. So, and then this is also on a Wednesday. So there might be a possible reversal chance, just because we swept out that higher time from drawn liquidity. But I mean, it just really depends on how we're respecting these PD arrays, which we are. Right, we have this propulsion block. And yeah, so let's just see how this plays out. So right away, you can see we have equal lows here as well. There's 15-minute this gap here as well. Let's see if we can come tap into this gap and then see some sort of continuation higher, or if we get a significant candle body closure below, then of course this would be a beautiful short thesis as well. So let's go down to the lower time frame and actually skip ahead and see if we can get an entry. Let's see how this plays out. So 9:30 opens up. We get a strong distribution here on ES. This is the 9:35. Let's see if we have an SMT at the highs. We have a significant SMT at the highs. We have SMTs at the lows as well. And I think we tapped in that 15-minute for value gap with SMT as well. Now, ideally, I probably wouldn't touch this until 10 a.m. just because, my daily bias is for shorts. And then look at the correlation between these assets, right? Right now, we have the high on NQ is at 9:35, and the high on ES is at 9:45. So this actually looks heavily like not correlated at all. But let's see. Okay, so we get the significant candle body closure here on Nasdaq, and that's at 9:55. So ideally, I'm looking for. So what this automatically just looks at to me, it looks like an accumulation, manipulation, distribution. We have that SMT at the highs now as well, and we have a lot of drawn liquidity resting below. We have these equal lows resting right here. We have this low. We have this low as well. And we have that, of course, for value gap. So right now, I'm just like, either I'm looking for, so of course we're going to wait for 10 a.m. to open. We get a significant candle body closure here at 10 a.m. We tap into this 15-minute for value gap here. Now, to me, this looks like a very clean accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Now it's just looking for entry. Now, ideally, you would take an entry off of here, right? Just off this candle body closure right here. And you could probably just risk this and then target these lows here. Now, for me, I probably would have missed that entry just because it's at 10 a.m. Now, ideally, I'd be waiting for a tap into this 5 minute for value gap and then a confirmation below. And I want to see how ES reacts as well. So let's see how the next 5 minute candle closes. So we get a small little retracement. We also have to be careful though, because ES is in a 15 minute for value gap and NASDAQ is creating some sort of SMT at the lows. Yeah, we swept out that 8 a.m. low. So we have to be very careful here. But at this point, right, if I'm here for longs, right, what would the accumulation manipulation be? Accumulation, right? I'm gonna mark this out for you guys. Accumulation, manipulation, we have SMT at the lows. We have SMT at the highs. We also have SMT at the lows. This is our manipulation, and then a change in the state delivery above here, or an inversion for value gap of this 5 minute, would be a beautiful thing. And then on the opposing side, this might be, an accumulation here, manipulation, distribution. But you just want to be careful. So we tap into this 5 minute for value gap here. I want to see if we hold this SMT now then. So we tap in this 5 minute here on ES. We don't tap it here on NASDAQ. If we can get a significant candle body closure below here, like literally on the 5 minute here, we can even check the 3 minute. The candle body closure below here, either or, and we hold that SMT, that would be a perfect setup, and I would take that right away. So let's see if we actually get that, or we don't. So let's skip the next 5 minutes. Okay, so we get a significant candle body closure here, and we get tapped in right away. So pretty much, I skipped a little too early, but I pretty much would get tapped in there. We have SMT at the highs now. Let's just check this. So SMT at the highs, tapping that 15 minute for value gap, significant candle body closure off that, accumulation manipulation using this 5 minute for value gap as that manipulation. We have SMT at the highs, and we have a lot of liquidity resting below. So this is a setup I wouldn't mind putting risk on at all. I pretty much just target, 2R. You could even pretty much just target this low. I'll target this low. We'll see. But because this is an SMT protected high, I'm keeping my stop there, because what would the invalidation be? The invalidation would be getting rid of that SMT and then possibly continuing higher. And then, of course, I'm on the wrong side of the liquidity, right? So this is why my stop loss is at that SMT protected high. I don't expect price to come take this out. So this should be a protected high. That's why my stop loss is there. I'm taking that 3 minute change in the state delivery slash, propulsion block. And we get tapped in right there. Let's actually make sure we get tapped in. And we can see how this trade actually plays out. So, honestly, this looks very beautiful. We can look on the higher time frame. Ideally, we want ES to inverse this. We can see how this plays out. Okay, we get a significant candle body closure. Okay, so we get this closure, ES, get this significant closure here. Now we just have to be very careful. Look at the higher time frame, see if there's any gaps. So we ran past this 1 hour for value gap, and then there's nothing really stopping us anymore. So I do think this should actually hit. Just skip a little forward, see if we hit TP. The significant closure, we have react off this gap. We need this gap to hold, right? We might also come into this gap, going from ERO to IRO. Well, let's see. Okay, and we hit take profit right there. Okay, that was a beautiful trade. So we meet our drawn liquidity. Now I'm just curious if we actually come down, making a new low of day. Let me skip this forward. Okay, so we actually do make a low of day. We tap in this 4 hour gap. Okay, that's actually amazing. So yeah, you guys can clearly see that's a beautiful example of an accumulation, manipulation, distribution here. And so let me explain this step by step now. So I think what price did here, right? What I can see is with this higher time frame, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. So let me show you guys. So we had this accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right, on the higher time frame. So using the 1 hour candles. Now if we go down to the lower time frame, starting at around 6 a.m., the previous 4 hour candle, what did it do? It also had an accumulation, manipulation, distribution. And this being, okay, let's mark this up, accumulation. So this is the 6 a.m. accumulation. And then we manipulate at 9:30 with SMT, right? And then we get a significant closure back into the range. So that is the first stage of distribution. So that's our candle 2. And I think we had a mini second stage of distribution on that 4-hour candle. So the 10 a.m. candle in this case is an expansion candle. So if you guys watch my guide on CRT and my candle theory guide, this all connects perfectly. So this is the accumulation candle. This is the manipulation candle. And the 10 a.m. candle in this case is actually the distribution candle for the daily chart. And yeah, so this actually was a beautiful trade. And then on the lower time frame, we had a, let me just clear this up. It's a pretty messy here. But we had a, accumulation, manipulation, with ES, and then we had that SMT as well. Accumulation, manipulation with that SMT, and then distribution with that change in the state delivery, and we caught a beautiful, beautiful 2.69R. So that's an absolutely banger trade here on Wednesday. So we're 2 for 2 on the week with up 5R or 4.5R. So absolutely beautiful. Let's go to the next day. Next day open. Let me just check the chat. Any questions? No questions, guys? Okay. We can go back here. So let me know if you guys, have any questions or any, thoughts or concerns. I appreciate you guys being in the live, ready to learn and all that stuff. So pretty much this Wednesday candle doesn't, so it forms a fair value gap, from what I can see here. We swept that daily external. Let me just mark this out. So we swept out that daily external, daily ERL, and then we have this daily internal range of liquidity. Now, we go from daily external to internal. So ideally, right, off this internal, we would just continue higher. And we might also want to tap this propulsion block. It really does depend. But my bias for today pretty much would just be longs, just anticipating that. And we barely have a manipulation here on the daily candle here as well. So daily chart, tapping that daily for value gap. And this is, I think, we have some sort of news here. We have these equal highs. So always mark out equal highs, equal lows, especially on news. Mark out your higher time frame drawn liquidities. We have this 4-hour for value gap here. We tap into and we react off of. Now, ideally, price would hold here, but if we get a significant confirmation on the lower time frame, we might actually dump lower to these liquidities here. But it is a Thursday, so I mean, I doubt we'd actually continue lower. But so first off, what I see, price opens up, accumulation, news, manipulation. We have equal highs. So automatically, when I wake up, I'm thinking this is a perfect day to long. And we can see if I'm correct or not. Just want to see how we're looking on ES. So is there any SMT at the lows? There's no SMT at the lows. That's one thing. No SMT at the lows. There's no fair value gaps here on ES. Is there an SMT at the highs? SMT at the highs. That's kind of concerning. It really does depend here then. So I mean, pretty much a day like this where you have, an 8:30 news, probably like CPI or PPI, I think. You're just gonna wait for a strong confirmation and either a lower time from SMT to really push you higher and see how we react. So this is 9:15 here. Let's skip forward. Okay, so right away at 9:30 we get a strong distribution. But ES is really weak here. This actually looks like a very tricky day. We can skip a little ahead, see if we can tap into this 5-minute. Tap into this 5-minute. Okay, so I think we have SMT inside of this 5-minute gap here now. We have equal lows here though. So I mean, maybe you could have scalped this on the 15-second chart. Tapping that, let's just see. Tap that 5-minute here. You tap in this 5 minute here and then change instead delivery, and then it's a little. I probably wouldn't do that as before 10 a.m. as well. Seems like a very tricky day. Okay, just skip forward. So at 9:50 we have this rejection candle, but we don't meet this drawn liquidity, and ES is actually pretty weak here still. So I want to. Do we have a 15-minute for value gap formed? Not yet. So that 15-minute for value gap is going to be formed. Ideally, I want price to tap into this. Let's see if we can tap into this with some SMT or not. We also have this 15-minute for value gap here on ES. ES looks very weak. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we came up here and then dumped lower. If we create some SMT, of course. Really does depend. But we are going from the daily internal range of liquidity all the way to the external range of liquidity as well. So you do have to be very careful. The 10 a.m. candle opens up. How do we close? We close very bullish here though, so that's a very good sign of a candle body closure here as well. So ideally, let's see, we tap in this 15-minute. Okay, wait. So I accidentally just skipped 15 minutes. Okay, so does it look? Do we tap in this 15-minute for value gap? Did ES tap into that? Or is that an equal low? Sorry guys, let me just check. Is that an equal low? So ES didn't even tap into that gap, unfortunately. Now, ideally, I probably wouldn't touch this then. Like the accumulate. I mean, this makes sense though, right? The accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Do we have a lower time from SMT though? I mean, this significant closure, it's risky. Like ideally, if we did have that SMT equal lows, I probably wouldn't consider this as an equal, like as an SMT inside of that 15-minute fair value gap. But honestly, like this setup here wouldn't be bad at all. We have that fair value gap uh over the we get a strong change in the state delivery. So even though we don't tap into that 15-minute or we have an equal low rested, that would qualify. It would not be an A plus setup, but I do think this would be like an A setup where it would qualify, a decent setup right here, especially when we get that strong candle body closure here as well on these couple candles. We get this change in the state delivery, tap right into it. Now we unfortunately missed that. We also have this propulsion block entry. So I wonder if we can. So ideally, this would be the trade we take. Unfortunately, we skipped a little too ahead. Now this entry in itself wouldn't be bad. We covered this for value gap here. Can target, maybe a 1.5R. We can see if this propulsion block entry also offers us a secondary entry, which is also that 5-minute change in the state delivery, right? And then also this 5-minute change in the state delivery that we actually get off this level. So honestly, if you took this here, this is not bad at all, right? 1-to-1 scalp here, 1-to-1.5. You can even target 2. I do think this just continues higher then. Yeah, I mean, we missed it unfortunately, but we can try this propulsion block. I feel like this is also a good secondary entry covering here. This is a little risky. Yeah, let's see if this plays out. We can set a limit order. Now the thing is, we have an SMT? We don't have an SMT, and we also have this resting here still. So pretty much thought process here is, okay, so we have this news wick that we have not taken out yet. We left a beautiful failure swing. We get a strong change in the state delivery, right? Secondary change in the state delivery off that level. I do think this just pushes higher. It doesn't make sense to come lower at this point. Just off the candle body closure, it makes sense. So I don't mind putting risk on here. And we can see how this plays out. I mean, honestly, this is not an A plus setup at all, right? The one over here would be an A plus setup, that 5-minute. I probably would have taken that, but see, okay, so we don't get tapped, but it does play out beautifully. So that's a little unfortunate, right? I mean, we could have just market ordered, but no, it's whatever. 1.5 R. I mean, this is not bad at all. I mean, it played out very nicely. We take out that. See how the rest of the day goes. Do we actually reverse from here? We don't have any SMT though. Um, yeah, it just looks like a chop fest after this. Okay, so I mean, our trade played out. We didn't get tapped in. We probably should have market ordered. Right. It's all good. The idea was there. And now, so for Friday, let's go. Next day open. So for Friday. So honestly, it looked like a chop fest yesterday on Thursday. Okay, now we go back to the daily chart. There's our same thought process. Let me just check the chat. Any questions? No questions. Okay. So pretty much, we get a beautiful candle body closure off this level. All right. Um. Oh, and then ES is very strong here as well. Now I'm just being very careful for SMT. So we have a previous high SMT actually. So this is very important. When you see a previous high SMT before 9:30 opens, you always want to mark that out, and consider that to be a possible reversion. So right now, automatically, I'm thinking of shorts. Just because that previous high SMT, that's one of the strongest SMTs you can possibly have. Doesn't matter about the significant candle body closure. I'm just going to be going down to the lower time frame and see him. So we have a significant SMT here. So ideally, I'm just looking for shorts at this point. We got this change in the stability, this order block that we're kind of reacting off. We got a secondary propulsion block. I just want to see how ES plays out. And yeah, we have 1 hour for value gap here. It was 1 hour for value gap here. Any SMTs at the lows? We have equal lows here. I mean, there is SMT at the lows just because it's so weak. Okay, so I mean, I want to see how we react off this 15-minute or 5-minute for value gap, or hourly for value gap. Oh my god, we got a crazy dump right at 9:30. You get this handle here. So we get this significant candle body closure. I want to see how okay, so right now my drawn liquidity is this, just because that significant candle body closure. So right now it looks like we're respecting here. This change in the state delivery. Mark that out. Seems like we're respecting that. And do we get any? Do you have any SMT at the high? Check. Okay, so we had an SMT right off open. So SMT right here. Okay, SMT. And so we have SMT there. We sweep out this low. Now it is a little difficult, but accumulation, manipulation, distribution with that SMT might continue lower. Hard to say. I mean, this is a very good entry though. Already, we get a significant candle body closure here. I'm just looking here on ES. So ideally, if ES can, okay, let's see the next minute though. How we close. So we react off this gap, or we react off this change in the state delivery. Nice. I want to see a 3-minute as well. 3-minute taps into that. We get a nice reaction off of that. So honestly, I'm expecting the 10 a.m. candle to actually push us here and be that manipulation. Now, cause I have a shorts bias for today, I'm kind of thinking of taking a trade before 10 a.m. My thought process behind that is, cause this candle is already distributing, so this would be your accumulation, this would be your manipulation, this would be your distribution. The 10 a.m. candle might accumulate, right? Because of the significant distribution right off open. And if you're thinking, on the higher time frame, the next accumulation, manipulation, distribution might happen. So we might not be able to trade the distribution of that 10 a.m. candle. So I'm saying when the 10 a.m. candle opens, it might be like it might target this drawn liquidity as its manipulation, right? So we have an accumulation, we manipulate into this drawn liquidity, and then we possibly respect this for value gap and then distribute higher. That's kind of the thought process I'm thinking. And then, of course, because I want to align myself with my daily bias, I want to take a short trade. So honestly, this 3 minute setup off here, do we tap in a 5 minute gap? No, there's no 5 minute gap. So we tap in this 3 minute. I think we react off of CE. That's a pretty telling sign. Let's see. Yeah, we react off of CE of that gap. We got a significant candle body closure. So ideally, this would be our entry. Right here, we keep a stop at this. Do we have SMT here? We have SMT at the lows, though. It's a little risky. Any SMT? Do we tap into a gap? We get that significant closure. I mean, I wouldn't mind taking this. Is there no SMT? Let me just double check, guys. No, so there is an SMT. Like a slight 1 minute SMT internally. It is a little risky, but I mean, I can try it because the drawn liquidity makes sense. Where's previous and then where's the nearest drawn liquidity to actually target? So this is also previous day low. Is there? We're in a gap though. Like this is where trades like this they become very difficult because there's no actual A plus guarantee, right? But honestly, previous day low looks nice just off this previous day high SMT. Off that previous day high SMT, we should target the opposing side of the range which would be this, right? And this is actually not a bad RR either. So honestly, this is not an A plus setup. This is not even an A plus setup or an A setup. We have an SMT at the lows. This is something I would put risk on just because, it is a Friday. I don't think the 10 a.m. candle is going to do much here. Yeah, honestly, I'll try this. Like, this is a B. I would say this is like a B minus setup, honestly. It is not that great at all. But, for the sake of backtesting, we can try it out. It's not a bad setup. It makes sense to me. So let's see if we get tapped in. We get tapped in. Okay, so we had the right draw on liquidity. Let's see. Okay, so we actually do sweep out previously low. Okay, that's good. So that trade also did play out as well. I just want to see. Okay, we had this propulsion block formed here. What did ES do? ES had a significant candle body closure, respected this wick in this propulsion block. And on the 1 minute time frame, we respect this change in the state delivery here. Seriously. And that's absolutely gorgeous. Okay. So honestly, not a bad trade at all. Like I think if I was trading this in real time, I would have hesitation, right? Because there was an SMT at the lows when we did take it, but backtesting and in real life is much different. But in hindsight, this trade did actually play out very beautifully. That's not bad at all. That was pretty beautiful. That distribution. Let's just see how the rest of the day plays out. So do we get a? Okay, yeah, and then this 4 hour candle actually did it reverse at the end? 10 a.m. I guess it doesn't go past that. But yeah, I mean, this makes sense. You could have also traded, something like this where 10 a.m. candle opens up. So we already swept it here, but then, accumulation, manipulation, distribution, taking this as well. This would be the PO3 setup. Now, the other setup I took was the CRT setup, right? Which is not bad at all. But yeah. So honestly, that, you can check the journal. That wraps it up. We had, let's see, we had this trade, right? That played out. We didn't get tapped in. We were supposed to market order this. And then I think this would honestly be one of the best weeks. A lot of R for this short trade that played out. Yep. Um, we had this long trade that played out. I don't know. Did it play out? I have to go back and check. And then this trade that played out. So this trade that played out nicely. Let me just go on the higher time frame, see. And for all of you guys that stayed here, I have a nice little gift for you guys. Just because you guys did stay here. And this is something I really don't do. Like this is, I'm surprised a lot of other people just left. And but you know, I appreciate you guys being here. I just want to reward you guys. I really don't do this, but like I said, I had a little gift for you guys. So we had these other trades that played out, and then this was a beautiful trade as well. So honestly, we can go to TradingView and just do a quick little weekly outlook for the day here as well. So let me. So my weekly outlook, I'll do a weekly outlook with you guys as well here on live. What are my expectations for the next week? We actually opened up already. Expectations for the next week, I probably want to see a sweep of previous weekly low and then possibly continue higher. We had a significant candle body closure here. We don't really, this week, we stayed in a tight range. We left the devil's mark right here. So ideally, we want price to take out these equal lows here. This is like relative equal lows here. Now, we might also stay inside its gap, but on Friday, we did inverse it, I think. Yeah, we did inverse it. And we have SMT at the highs, like from what I remember. Let's go to MES. We have SMT at the highs, yes, on this Friday candle. Okay, so we have SMT at the highs on the Friday candle. So ideally, we would want. We have SMT at the lows. We also have an SMT at the lows. So honestly, it really does depend. Ideally, I mean, we'll see how Monday plays out. But if we're gonna respect this internal range of liquidity, we might do something like this. But if not, I want this to be swept out. Maybe tap into this discounted daily for value gap and then continue higher. But yeah, honestly, pretty much it. It's either gonna be this, where, we do something like this, respecting this gap, or we come down and do this, or even something like this. But I don't think so. But yeah, I'm gonna see you guys. Oh wait, before I go, any questions? I want to give you guys a gift. Let me just pull this up. So, because you guys stayed here, I want to offer you guys a 50% off in my premium Discord. Like, it's been months since I did this. It's been months since I rarely do this. And yeah, so I only had 10. But of course, a lot of people left. So if you guys do want to join the premium Discord, it will just be $15 for the first month. And yeah, so I'll send you guys the coupon. Just give me 1 second figuring this out. So the promo code, right, for the first month off will just be backtest, all capitals. All right. I appreciate you guys being here. Let's just look at this here. 50%. Everybody, and this just expires tomorrow. And this is just for 10 people. And we can create it. So the coupon is backtest. If you guys really want to, join the Discord, see how I trade on live. I'm gonna be trading pretty much every single day. I mean, except for Mondays, of course. Backtest, all capital, for 50% off. Just because you guys were here, I want you guys to, have the opportunity to, tune into the live sessions, and really, have that promo and just look to trade the power of 3, trade and see how I trade, and hopefully become profitable just from, watching a profitable trade like myself trade, and just to learn these skills. So if you guys are interested, you guys can do that. If you guys have any questions, you can write them in the chat right now. If not, I'll be posting this as well if you guys want to review this. This is a beautiful backtesting session. Honestly, I think this is the first time we went like 100% in a backtesting session. So it's pretty nice, pretty nice. Yeah, I appreciate you guys showing up. We'll do a backtesting session either next week or the week after that as well. So backtest, if you guys want a 50% off promo code, there's only 3 of you guys here, so you guys can have that. But yeah, I'll see you guys. If you guys join, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. If not, I'll see you guys in the next Sunday backtesting session. And I have a large announcement coming out for people who want to, learn one-on-one with me. I teach this type of stuff, but I go way in depth into narrative and foundation of trading. So there will be an announcement for that as well. So I'll see you guys another time. Thank you guys for joining. Peace.